everyone, I have a fun collab today that you've already probably seen before. I was invited by Dead Over It and Real with Mrs. B to participate in this, but because I usually film about 2 weeks out and the time on the collab was originally very short, I had to ask, hey, can I post later, because 4 days is just not really, you know, it was less than a week. I can't really get together a video in that time with my schedule. However, I absolutely am so glad that they allowed me to do this because I thought it was a really fantastic topic. It's 5 silly money wasters. And the reason that I liked this so much was that it's kind of forcing us, especially in, you know, personal finance budgeting land, when we talk about, you know, all these great things that we're doing for our futures all the time, to call ourselves out on the things that we know we shouldn't do that waste money that we totally do anyway. And I am definitely guilty of this, hugely guilty of this. So I will be admitting 5 things that I do that waste money in my life, and I acknowledge them, and I know I do them, and yet still. Maybe calling myself out on it will help me get better at it. All right, so the first thing is having my air conditioner on at night. Now I don't have central heat and air. I have window units. I have a window unit in my bedroom and a window unit in my kitchen. Now I never leave them on when I'm not home. Rory is fine. But I never leave them on when I'm not home. Same with the portable heaters that I have and the gas heater that I have in my living room, because I'm not there. And you know, Rory has a fur coat. She's fine. She's not really getting any use out of it, and so that saves me a lot of money. And I know that I can save a lot of money by doing this because I've saved a lot of money doing it in the past. Both of these ACs have timers on them, and both of my heaters have timers on them, and so you can set it, especially at night, say, hey, blow for 2 more hours and then stop, and then that's, you know, 6 to 8 hours that it's not blowing, but you're still comfortable because you're asleep. Now this seems like a silly little thing, but if you think about how much, if you're getting 8 hours of sleep and you're running an air conditioner for all 8 hours, that's a whole lot more energy being expended and used than if you're only running it for 2 hours. And that's what I used to do. I used to, especially down in Hammond, I'd set the, I'd cool the room, and I'd have the AC going for about an hour before I went to bed. Or if I got hot, I'd turn it on for a little while, but I'd always set the timer, so I wouldn't just mindlessly have it going when the place was cool enough or hot enough if it was the heater. And so, especially at night, I'd set it for about 2 hours, and then by the time that 2 hours was over, the room would be cool. I keep all the doors closed, including the closet, so the space that I'm in, I'm not generating any heat really because I'm sleeping, and it's a comfortable environment, and I don't really need the air going all night. It was fine. And I did this last night just to kind of prove to myself, yeah, you're fine. And so I set it for 2 hours, and I was asleep, and when I woke up, I was fine. I was comfortable, and then I went back to sleep without turning it back on, and I was fine, and I was comfortable, and I woke up again, it was fine. And so if I woke up because I was hot, yeah, I'd turn it back on, but I'd time it. But yeah, it's a huge money waster, especially, and I've noticed that my bills have been high this summer because I've kept that thing going all the time when I'm home, and it doesn't need to be on all the time when I'm home. At a certain point, it's superfluous. So hopefully I will get better at that. You know, it's an extra 3 buttons that I have to push to get the timer going instead of just pressing the 1 on button. So perhaps I can get my princess sea self to just do what I'm supposed to and save the money. Okay, so number 2, because I spent a lot of time on that, is food waste. I am still guilty of wasting food every week. Now, thank God I have Rory, because she makes me feel better about not wasting so much. You know, I made a zucchini parmesan, and I hated it. And so Rory got to eat the rest of it. But despite the fact that I meal plan and I only shop once a week and I try not to buy more than I need, I still just about every week end up throwing some food away. It could be one banana. It could be a partial loaf of bread I went bad. And so that's a big money waster. And if I just monitored it more, I'm sure I could cut down on it. But at the very least, I guilt myself about it. And in the 5 frugal things videos I've been doing, I've been starting to, if I have some food waste, I'll say, you know, I failed this week because I forgot this thing in my fridge and it went to waste. Or I just didn't feel like eating this thing that I had left over, and so it ended up being thrown away, and that was a waste of, you know, money for the ingredients that I spent on it. So I need to get better at that, definitely. Alright, number 3. Former Mrs. Jones didn't mean to call me out on this, but she said in a recent video that she has really been cutting down on her driving around, her gas expenditure, because she'd catch herself going like down to the store for one thing. And I was like, oh my goodness, I totally do that. A lot of, you know, Mena's a very small town. Sometimes I don't just want to go straight from work to home. And so I find myself kind of driving around just kind of aimlessly. And that's a good time waster when you have time to waste, but it's also terrible for gas, and I'm putting miles on my car that don't necessarily need to be there. So yeah, I'm definitely wasting money that way, and I need to be more mindful of that. I only go to the store once a week generally, but I will just drive around. I'll drive from one end of town to the other just to have something to do for a minute, and that's a waste. That is a silly money waste. Let's see. Next, not being organized is number 4. I think a lot of us are on just kind of a constant quest to be more organized, but sometimes I'm not, especially in like storage. Sometimes I'm not. The other day I figured out that I had 4 bottles of conditioner and no shampoo, because I kept grabbing conditioner at the store, apparently, and not realizing that I had it. And that's, I mean, eventually I'll use that conditioner. I've put a moratorium on buying conditioner. But there are things that are perishable that happen like that, where you forget that you have something already, and then you go and buy another, and it's just a waste of money. As you know, in non-perishables too, if you can't find your scissors because you're not organized, you have to go buy another pair of scissors. That's wasted money from something you could have been organized and done. By the way, I know where my scissors are. But in the past, I've been the woman that couldn't find them anywhere. And then one day I figured out I had like a dozen pair of scissors, and that's insane. So trying to be more organized and not end up buying duplicates, because that is a huge waste of money. And finally, and this is something I am loath to admit. And this is not a silly money waster, this is a very serious money waster, and I know I do it, and yet every single month I continue to do it. I don't log my mileage for work. And I know about a bunch of you are going to be like, just log your freaking mileage, Sarah. It's, you know, it's not that difficult, and it's not. All I have to do is write it down on the log at my office. I could even keep it in my car if I wanted, but because I've never been good at this. I was never even good at this when I was doing reporting in bigger cities, but I would make sure, you know, sometimes I'd have to drive half an hour away. I always logged those. But here it's so many like teeny little things that it doesn't seem like it would add up, but I know that I could pay for my gas every month with my mileage that I logged if I actually did it. But for, I think, probably 9 or 10 of the 12 months I've been here, I haven't turned in my mileage report, and that's, you know, $30+ every single month that I could have been, that I just lost. And I hate myself for it. I do. I beat myself up over that, and yet I never make the step to log the freaking mileage. So I don't know what I'm going to have to do to get myself to do that, but I know it's a horrible, horrible waste of money. You know, I could be doing so much. I could put that in a future car repair fund. I could put that in a future car fund. I could be putting that towards debt. So, and I'm mad at myself for it, if you can't tell, but I'm still doing it. I didn't turn it in last month. It was due on Friday. But I just didn't. So if any of you have any tips on how to keep up on your mileage tracking, that doesn't involve a phone app because my phone's too old to keep. It just doesn't do any of the new iOSs. That's why I don't even have Twitter on my iPhone, because it's too old. So yeah, those are my 5 serious or silly and not so silly money wasters. Thank you very much to my fellow collaborators who also called themselves out on the stuff that they do and that they can improve on, because I know sometimes we present ourselves in a way that it's like we're just all over this. We're on top of this whole frugality thing. We're on top of this whole money management thing, but we can always do better. And it can be in just little ways, but like not using as much toilet paper, or you know, if you're getting like an obscene amount of toilet paper, which one of my fellow collaborators totally called herself out on. Mad respect for that, because I've done that before and had to be like, calm down, Sarah, with the toilet paper usage. So, but a big part of it is acknowledging what you're doing and then actually taking the action steps. So I've acknowledged what I'm doing. Maybe that will inspire me to take the action steps. I am going to try to, at the very least, keep the air on less, especially in this weather. It's fall. I'm not going to need it as much, and so I don't need it going all night. I absolutely don't need it going all night, or I'll wake up freezing. So alright, tell me things that you waste money on below. Chastise me for the whole mileage thing. I deserve it. I deserve it. And I will see you all soon. All the other collaborators are listed below. Really great videos this time. It was very cool to be able to see other people's videos before I actually film my own. Normally when a collab comes out, it's all at once and you're just kind of like, I hope no one said the same thing I did. Because if it's, you know, 12 collaborators all saying the same 4 or 5 things, that's kind of boring. But yeah, no, everyone called themselves out on different stuff. So this was fun. Thank you so much. Bye.